what is an HO1?
A basic policy.
Basic policy, yep. And what type of policy is an HO1?
An ACV.
Yep, good, good, it is. I was looking for more, is it, I don't want to say the two options because that'll give it away, but
Oh, package policy or
mm,
not
Name,
monoline.
I
name,
think, Brittany, I think you just said it.
named policy.
Named, yep. So a basic policy HO1 is on a named peril basis, yep, and it's an ACV reimbursement. Good. What is an HO2?
Broad. It's also
Broad. Yep. And what type of policy is that?
named.
Named. Yep. Basic and broad are both on a named peril basis. Yep. What's an HO3?
Special.
Yep.
Special.
Yep. So you have
Open.
your basic, broad, and special. Yep. And it's open. Exactly. Yep. Open on the what?
The dwelling, the building.
The building. Exactly. And blank on the personal property?
Named on the personal property.
Named on the personal property. Yep. What is an HO4?
Renters.
Renters.
Tenants.
What's unique about an HO4?
It doesn't cover the building.
Does not cover the building. Good. What is an HO5?
Comprehensive.
Comprehensive. Yep, HO5 is the most comprehensive, right? It's open on both. Open on the building, open on the personal property.
Is that what you consider all risk?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's limited risk or all risk, right? So limited risk would be a named, and then all risk is open. Yep. HO6. What is an HO6?
Condo.
Condos.
Condos. Yep. And what is an HO8?
Dated homes.
Victorian homes.
Older
Yeah.
Victorian dated homes. Yep, good. So we said an HO1 is reimbursed on an ACV. What's the other one? It's HO1 and blank
HO.
that's on an ACV.
HO8.
HO8. Yep, 1 and 8 are on an ACV basis. Good. What are the three policies that are on a replacement cost basis?
2, 3, and 5.
2, 3, and 5, right? 2, 3, and 5 are all on a replacement cost basis. What about 4 and 6? What are they?
Dated value.
Stated value. Yep. Stated value on the personal property. Good. Good, good, good. And same thing applies for dwelling, right? We just talked about homeowners, but same thing applies for dwelling, right? So a DP1 is on an ACV basis. A DP1 is a basic policy. A DP2 is on a named peril basis. That's your broad policy. Reimbursed on a replacement cost basis. DP3 is a special. It's an open peril policy on the building, named on the personal property, and it's on a replacement cost reimbursement, right? Replacement cost reimbursement. Same things we just talked about with a homeowner. Same thing applies for dwelling. What is one difference between a dwelling and a homeowner's?
A dwelling is a monoline policy.
Good. Yep. And what does that mean exactly?
There's no theft, liability, or personal property included. Those all have to be endorsed.
Correct. Yep. So monoline means it only covers one type of risk, right? Which is the building. Dwelling policies are monoline. They only cover the building. It doesn't come standard with theft, liability, or personal property, right? Those things would all have to be endorsed onto the policy. Whereas on a homeowner's policy, they come standard, right? That's all included. So a homeowner's policy is a what type of policy?
Package policy.
Package policy, exactly. Yep, homeowner's policy is a package policy. All those things come standard, right? It includes liability, it includes theft, it includes personal property in a standard policy. What are our two perils that we add on for commercial and business owners?
Sprinkler and is it sump pump?
Sinkhole.
Not sub pump.
Sinkhole.
Sinkhole. Yep, sprinkler leakage and sinkhole collapse. Yep. Is
And then-
sinkhole collapse and collapse the same?
No.
Right, two different things. So your S and S, right? Think of it that way. Your S and S is what's added on to your basic perils on a commercial and a business owners. It's your sprinkler leakage and your sinkhole collapse, right? That's separate from just regular collapse. What do we know about collapse on, say, a homeowner's policy?
It's covered if it's caused by a basic, like one of the covered perils. Like, well, I should reword that.
I'll reword the question.
Everything
Is collapse a peril?
No.
No. What is it? What is it considered? Is it an exclusion?
No.
No. Is it an endorsement?
Yes. Or not an endorsement, it's like an add-on.
It's an additional coverage.
There it is.
It's an additional coverage, right? So it's not an endorsement, it's not an exclusion, it's an additional coverage. And it comes in conjunction with what types of perils? Basic or
Like
broad?
fire.
Broad.
Yep. So what do we know about collapse? We know collapse is not an endorsement. It's not an exclusion. It's not a peril. It's an additional coverage that kind of comes in conjunction with your broad perils, right? So is it going to be covered on a basic policy in HO1? No. Is it going to be
No.
covered on an HO8? No. Right. But it would follow, it kind of comes in conjunction with like your HO2s, your HO3s, right? It would follow the broad peril policies.
Can I ask real quick the difference between an endorsement and an add-on?
So that term add-on and endorsement are basically the same thing. The difference between additional coverage and endorsement is additional coverage it's pretty confusing, but endorsement is something that you don't have in the policy and you're completely adding it on brand new. That's an endorsement. Like it's not in the policy. You're getting that endorsement added onto the policy. You're paying for it. Additional coverage is more something that it like comes with the policy. You're just getting like more of it added, kind of. They're very similar and it's a little bit confusing, but that's kind of the difference. Like endorsement, you're kind of adding it on separate, not even separate because it's still with the policy, but it's like it's not something that's already in the policy. Whereas additional coverage is usually something that you get, you're just getting more of it, basically. Which even that concept is a little bit confusing because it's not black and white like that,
But I get that it goes with like the broad peril of like collapse is, I would assume, is related to like falling objects or weight of snow, sleet, and ice. Like
right. It kind of happens like as a result of the perils. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. If somebody on a homeowner's policy, if somebody has 3 kids of their own and they have the home daycare endorsement, how many kids in total can they have?
6.
The 6.
6, right? In total.
Is that 3 like, are they adding like their kids as well? Not like 6 additional kids, it's 3 additional?
Correct.
So if they have 5 kids of their own, they can only have 1 additional child.
No, they can have 8 in total in that case. It's always 3 in addition. Doesn't matter if the insured has 5, 6, 3, 1. It's always 3 in addition.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Yep. And that's a good question because you guys know with these questions, they'll try to get you with that, right? They might try to say, oh, Michelle has 2 kids. How many kids can she have in total? The answer is 5. Right? If it says Michelle has 3 kids, how many can she have in total? Then it's 6, right? So and they're going to put, like if they say she has 2 kids, they're going to give you the option of 3, right? You might think, oh, well, she can only have 1 more, right? To make it 3 total. No, it's 3 additional in addition to her own.
I think I had a question that was similar, but I was thinking the answer was 6, like total. I think she had like 4 kids and I put the answer where she could have like 2 additional or something.
Yeah.
That was wrong. And I was like, wait a minute. So I'm so confused. I thought she could have up to 6.
Yeah, no, it's 3 in addition, regardless of how many they have of their own.
Okay, gotcha.
This always seems to trip us up. What is the minimum liability limit on a homeowner's policy?
100,000.
100,000. 100,000 is the minimum. I think in the text it says up to 3. I think it says 100 to 300, which I think, Bradley, is why you keep saying 300. I think it does say that. I think it says 100 to 300 for liability, but on the exam it's going to be 100,000. So it's 100,000 for liability for a homeowner's. What about medical?
1,000.
1,000. Yep. So 1,000 for medical, 100,000 for liability. What is letter-wise? What letter is coverage? I just gave you the answer. What letter is medical payments on a homeowner's policy?
F.
E.
Oh, medical
I
payments?
think it-
No,
E as in-
I'm lying. No, it's not. It's F. It's F.
Oh, okay.
It's F.
F for fix, right?
Yep. F for fix the body. Yep. Medical payments is.
Which one is
You guys tell me. What is the coverage E?
Liability.
Liability. Yep. Good way to think about that is think E liability.
okay?
Right? So E liability and F is for fix the body, right? That's for medical payments. Your A, of course, is building. B is what?
Separate structure.
C,
Personal property.
personal
Okay.
property. D,
Loss of use.
loss of use, right? Or additional living expense. E, liability. F is medical. Is on a homeowner's policy, is medical payments, or are medical payments, I should say, are medical payments liability?
Yes.
Yes. What about on an auto policy? Are medical payments liability?
Yes.
Nope.
What's that considered then on an auto?
So that's where it can get
bodily injury.
confusing too with all of this stuff, is that we talk in homeowners how much medical payments are a liability coverage, right? If somebody's hurt on your property, that medical payments is going to pay to fix somebody else, right? Never the insured, right? So, and you could even have a question, something as basic as, are medical payments liability on a homeowner's policy? Yes. Right? Medical payments will pay for everybody except who? Everybody except the insured, right? Except a resident relative, except a family member, right? It's never going to pay for the insured or anybody insured under that policy on a homeowner's. On auto, medical is not liability. Medical is always going to pay to fix the insured, right? Medical payments are for the insured, and who else? There's two other kind of categories.
And the passenger.
Passengers.
Passengers, yep. So the insured, passengers, and
Third parties?
Their spouse? Is it?
yep, on the right track, spouse, and a few other people. Are
Like people who live in the house?
yep, resident relatives. Yep.
Resident relatives.
Okay.
Yep. So that could be your spouse, kids, right? A mom, if somebody's parent lives with them, right? Any resident relatives. So medical on homeowners, it's liability. Medical on an auto, it is not liability. It's for the insured, resident relatives, and passengers.
Okay.
Right? So if you have a question on auto that says medical will pay for all of the following except two, medical on an auto is not going to pay for a third party, right? It's not going to pay for passengers in another car, for example, right? It's not going to pay for a pedestrian, right? That would all be liability coverage. Medical is going to pay to fix the insured, resident relatives, and passengers. Now, where this can get confusing too is it covers those three kind of categories, right? The insured, resident relatives, and passengers with any involvement with a car, right? So if it says David's spouse is driving in the neighbor's car, that's covered under David's medical policy. If it says Brittany's son or daughter, I don't even want to say this out loud. It's terrible to even say. I'm going to make up a name. I'm not going to say Brittany. Johnny. We don't know who Johnny is. Johnny's son or daughter is walking down the street and God forbid gets hit by a car. That's covered under the medical auto policy, right? Any involvement with a vehicle and it's a resident relative or the insured or a passenger, that's all covered under medical, right? Even if they're not in your car, if it's involved with the vehicle, it's covered under your medical.
Under your auto policy.
Correct. Under your auto medical coverage. Exactly. Yep. Even if it says like the insured's taking a jog down the street, that's covered under the insured's auto medical coverage.
Okay.
There's one other scenario. I just thought about that. Is funky.
What was the one where it's like if you're getting out, like somebody's, I don't know, like grandmother's getting out of the car and falls or trips
Medical.
on the curb? That is medical under your auto policy.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's any involvement with a car, right? Whether you're
Okay.
getting out of it, God forbid somebody's hit by a car, they're in somebody else's car, if they're a resident relative.
Right. Okay.
Any of those scenarios, like I saw an example question that said like somebody's walking across the street at their house to get their mail, like say your mailbox is across the street and you're hit by a car. That's under your auto medical payments, believe it or not, because you're involved with a car.
Okay.
Yeah, I found out the hard way that if you smash your finger in your car door, it's covered under your auto insurance.
Oh God, you smashed your own finger in a car?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that sounds painful. Oh, that hurts. That gives
But I
you,
was so confused. I was like, why do you not need my health insurance? Why do you need my car insurance?
yeah, any involvement with a vehicle.